manufacturing, twice the national average. Senator Johnson said he also wants constituents to keep him totally informed about how tariffs are affecting them.
As federal programs see funding cuts, Wisconsin food banks are set to lose over $2 million from the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The Wisconsin Department of Health Services recently notified two of the state's largest food banks that they will see significant cuts to the Commodity Credit Corporation. The program seeks to connect farmers with food banks, and the proposed cuts would cancel the planned shipments of more than 1 million pounds of food between June and September, which is estimated to be about $2.2 million in value. Advocates fear how cuts to federal Medicaid spending will hit Wisconsin's unpaid family caregivers. Joanne Krulatz reports.
Congress is considering at least $880 billion in Medicaid cuts as part of a bill to extend existing tax cuts. Janet Zander with Wisconsin Aging Advocacy Network says impacts of Wisconsin's aging population are already being felt, with many people leaving the workforce to care for relatives. Zander says Medicaid-funded programs like Family Care, IRIS, and CLTS help people remain in their homes and are the reason why many family members can continue working. The extent of the cuts is unclear, but Zander says people should be contacting their Congress members.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
The Brewers add a pitcher. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers traded this morning for right-hand pitcher Quinn Priester from the Red Sox. 24 years old, a first-round pick for the Pirates in 2019. The Brewers sending outfielder Yofreri Rodriguez and a player to be named. They also designated for assignment lefty Graham Wolfgram. The trade coming after Nestor Cortez was placed on the 15-day IL with an elbow injury. Yesterday, the Brewers beat the Reds 8-2 thanks to a good performance from pitcher Chad Patrick in only his second start.
Just felt like I could just command everything a little bit better. I don't know, my body felt great. I could breathe a little easier. It was awesome being out there.
Basketball, Bucks beat the Pelicans 111-107, with Giannis taking the night off for rest.
It's a great thing. Obviously, when you win, it feels good. We're not focused on any other teams. Every single night when we step into it, we focus on Bucks basketball. And if we go play Bucks basketball, we should be successful.
That's Gary Porter Jr., who led with 29 points. With Sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Some early evening clouds and maybe a flurry, otherwise a clearing sky tonight and cold with a low in the low 20s. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, a high to the low 40s. Then a rain chance returns to the area for Wednesday and Thursday. Currently 35 degrees.
Mark your calendars for heart-pumping, exhilarating action at the 2025 Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races in Marinette, Wisconsin on June 7th and 8th. The action will be non-stop as these high-octane boats reach speeds over 105 miles per hour. Races kick off on Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. and will run throughout the day. Free for the whole family, this is the perfect summertime weekend getaway. For more information, head to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page.
Matt Nair on air.
Dave Wild is our guest, and we're talking about his experience with Medicaid. When I hear some of the Trump officials talk about this, the inference is that these are all lazy people who just don't want to work.
You know, my health took me out of my career. This isn't something I chose. It's something I have to live with. We get checked on routinely. They have all of this in place already. What they're doing is completely unnecessary.
Matt Nair on air. Weekdays 10 till noon on your local Civic Media radio station and on the app. Jane, Matt Nair, and Greg Bach.
Coming up on the show, we will break down all the news of the state with Pat Kreitlow from Up North News Radio. And this member of Congress wants you to buy your son a...
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who likes pina coladas but hates getting caught in the rain, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome to Nite Lite, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome from Madison. We are live in Madison tonight from State Street, overlooking the beautiful state capitol and the goings-on on the streets below. So much activity here tonight. Lots going on. The students are getting ready for finals, as I understand it. The Wisconsin Film Festival is still going strong. There's a championship basketball game tonight, and it's cold. Conrad, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I talking about basketball. How are you doing after Duke lost? I know you're really a big fan.
Oh my God, that was so great. Here's what a perfect day I had on Saturday. Okay, so I'm at the Wisconsin Film Festival, introducing films, hosting Q&As, seeing as many films as I can in between all that. Saturday, I hosted a Q&A, which was phenomenal. I'll talk about that in a moment. And then I saw a terrific film at the Barrymore Theater. And then I saw another great film. I'm starving, so I go back to my hotel room. I get some food from one of my favorite joints on State Street, and I make it back in time to see the last minute of Houston and Duke. And it was like all I needed to see. It was so great to see Duke. Not that I don't know, would you call it a choke?
30 seconds left, and it was like they had a 6-point lead or something like that.
It kind of was a choke, right? It was like the whole team.
Yeah, and especially Cooper Flagg. I mean, he's a great athlete and everything, but that last shot was kind of selfish, and I didn't like that shot he took.
I don't know, man. I thought it had I had visions of Christian Laettner hitting that shot we've all seen 100 times. And I thought, and he had a pretty good look. I mean, he was 10 feet from the hoop, and he's this All-American. He might go first or second or whatever in the draft.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, he's going to hit this, and they're going to have like 2 or 3 seconds left, and he missed it. And I'm not used to seeing Duke crumble like that. It was great.
I was about to say the same thing. It was great.
Yeah. And not that it's like revenge for 2015 against the Badgers, but it was really, even without that, I was happy to see Duke lose. And I'm not proud of that, but a lot of it plays into the Badgers. And I know don't they have a kid from Wisconsin on the team?
Yeah, the same name as me.
Oh, that's right.
Is
he a senior?
Conkenipple. No, he's a freshman. He played for Wisconsin Lutheran when he was in Wisconsin.
And somebody told me he was at the game in 2015 wearing a Badgers jersey against Duke, and he went to Duke. What the heck?
Yeah, I don't know.
I was happy to see Duke lose. That's great.
I mean,
it's not just that, though. I like the Houston team. They play defense. They're active, and they're all over the place, and I think they're really well coached. I really like Calvin Sampson. I think he's a great coach.
Yeah, I'm rooting for Houston all the way.
Same. It'll be good. I'll either be watching that game or I'll be watching the first Russ Meyer movie at the Wisconsin Film Festival. I've never seen one. They're kind of campy. I think at the time they were considered like kind of sexy, but now it's just probably total camp. But I'm going to go out possibly to the Flicks Brew House tonight.
Yeah.
Check in on the Nightlight beer, which they're serving there, hazed on radio, thanks to brewmaster Dave Hansen. I'll see Dave out there tonight. Check in on the beer, maybe see my first Russ Meyer movie, and hopefully get back in time for the end of the game. So should be another fun night here in Madison. But it's just been it's been great. But let's set the show up. We got a great show. Madison-based comic Johnny Beaner will be here at 6:35. Johnny's coming into the studio. He's been on the show before. He's been in studio with me before, and he's a lot of fun to have on the show. We'll have some laughs, talk about comedy, and you got that bit of his I want to play?
Yeah.
Love that joke. We'll play that when Johnny's here. And we're going to give Johnny a comedian quiz. I'm going to see if he can guess which comedians I'm talking about when I give him a couple clues. So it's another Nightlight quiz. That'll be fun when Johnny's here. And then at 7:20, another Madisonian drops by the studio. I work that in there so casually. Like, it's just people coming in, hanging out, and leaving when actually it's a lot of scheduling that takes place. And it's kind of a headache, but it's nice when you have them committed. Victoria Davis will be here. And Victoria and Johnny will be make a great show tonight. Victoria's going to talk to us about kids' horror films, which I find that'll be a really interesting topic because on Friday when we did the show here, the question of the night was, what's your favorite scary movie? So Victoria wrote an article recently about a scary movie geared towards kids, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about fun Madison restaurants she's written about, and just a lot of fun. It's going to be a great night here at Nightlight. So every time we come to Madison, we have fun. And Conrad is holding down the fort in Green Bay.
Yeah,
Looks like you've really tidied up the place. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Looks cleaner than when I'm there. The WGBW sign is sparkling, baby.
Yeah, I grabbed some towel and some spray and
wipes.
just went crazy on it.
Gave it a once over. So this is kind of fun too. And I thought, since I'm going out tonight to check on and sample Nite Lite, the Nite Lite inspired beer hazed on radio at Flick's Brew House in Easttown Mall during the Wisconsin Film Festival. What they do is they have the first 4 days are kind of all downtown here. They use the Barrymore and a lot of other venues on campus and around here. And then for the week, it kicks out to Flick's Brew House. And there's still a ton of movies showing out there. It's a great place to see a movie. I've seen 2 movies there. And I don't even live in town. It's just worked out that way. And it's a beautiful, state-of-the-art everything theater. So I'm going to pop out there later, check in on sample the hazed on radio Nite Lite inspired beer, thanks to Dave Hansen, the brewmaster. And I will give my full review. Do you think I will ever give a bad review of a beer that someone made in honor of this show? Not a chance.
Probably shouldn't.
He could feed me like Rhinelander beer or Blatz or something. And I go, this is top-notch stuff, Dave. No, but he is a phenomenal brewmaster. They have so many great beers there. And it inspired tonight's question of the night.
Let's talk about the question.
Okay, question.
Question. Pregunta. Question.
Question.
Hey, I have a question. Questions? This question.
Domanda. Question.
Questions.
What's your favorite beer? Pretty straightforward. What is your favorite beer? Now, this was inspired by the Nite Lite beer hazed on radio out at Flick's Brew House here in Madison. However, it also happens to be, Conrad, you know where I'm going with this?
National Beer Day?
National Beer Day.
There we go.
Pretty vague. Like, because beer is all different kinds of, like, they got fruity beers and IPAs and dark beers and lagers and all that stuff. This is vague. National Beer Day. So that's the question. It's very simple. Tell me your favorite beer, folks. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. Text us on the app. Very easy to use. We're on statewide, so just click the little icon next to the station you happen to be listening on and let us know your favorite beer. And Conrad, can people get a hold of us on the stream? I'm curious. I ask this every night and I forget, so please give us the rundown.
Yeah, leave us a comment. We're on Facebook, WISS, WGBW, or Nite Lite with Pete Schwaba. On YouTube, it's Civic Media or WGBW, and on Twitter, it is WGBW or Civic Media.
Get a hold of us any way you can, folks, but just get a hold of us because it's so much fun reading your texts on the radio. I would have to say my favorite beer, and again, I'm not really a beer guy. I'm going to think outside the box here because I haven't really been drinking at all in the last, let's say, 2 to 2.5 years. Anyway, I've talked about this on the show a little bit. I discovered recently Blue Moon non-alcoholic beer. It's low in calorie, obviously very low in alcohol, and it has a very light, it's almost like a summer drink. But I'll suck a few of those down on the weekend. Those are pretty good. That's my beer pick. Non-alcoholic. What about you?
This is tough. I was at X Golf, a simulator, this week in Appleton, and they have this new beer. It's called the Stillmonk's beer, and it was on tap, and it's a specially made for the draft, and it's a honey ale lager.
Specially made for the NFL draft, which takes place in Green Bay in a couple weeks.
Honey malt lager, yes. I tried that, and one of the best beers I've tried on tap in a while.
No kidding.
But it will be Summer Shanty is my all-time favorite.
That's a good one too. I don't know if you remember this. About 5 years ago, Line & Kugel's put out a watermelon beer. And I tried it, and again, not a huge beer drinker, but I really liked it. And I never a watermelon beer is very light, very summery, like the Shandy. Yeah. And I kind of forgot about that. But Todd Michaels checks in on the stream and says Spotted Cow.
That's
no surprise there from the T-Man. I know he loves his Spotted Cow. And then he just put Con. I think he's trying to get your attention, Conrad. So
hello, Todd.
He might want to he might want to give you a talking to right now. I don't know what's going on. Or he just wants your attention. Yeah. Sherry from Horicon says, good evening, Pete and Conrad. I don't drink alcohol, but I love raspberry iced tea. Okay. We'll take that. Sherry, I recommend the Blue Moon non-alcoholic. Or break your code and come on down to Flick's Brewhouse in Easttown Mall for a Hazed on Radio. So much fun down here at the film festival. I got the opportunity to host the Meet the Parents Q&A on Saturday. There was a showing that had about 300 people for this film that is 35 years old and sort of spawned a dynasty of Meet the Parents movies. And I was so happy for Greg Gliana, who was on the show Friday night with Jim Vincent. The two of them made the film in like 1989, and they got such big laughs. And the Q&A was great, and people asked phenomenal questions. It was so much fun watching this old classic with such a big crowd in a theater and seeing people respond to it so well. I also, Conrad, we had several people from the Wisconsin Film Festival on the show recently. Ethan Ogilvy, who was on the show and wrote The Threesome.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the best rom-com I've ever seen.
That's, wow.
It's good. And listen, it's not my favorite genre, but I've certainly seen my share of them. This movie, and when Ethan was on the show, he talked about a big twist about 20 minutes in. I say it comes about 30, 35 minutes in, but I was watching it with Greg. We went to the film, and we were like, where's the big jaw-dropping moment? But it happens. And it's a great movie. Very well acted. Zoe Deutsch is great. Ruby Cruz is great. Thoughtful characters. One of them's like a fundamentalist Christian. And she just, I can't say too much, but the characters were so well done. There was surprises all throughout it. Definitely check out The Threesome if you get an opportunity. It will definitely be coming to streaming at some point. Possibly even theaters, because they got a great cast. All right, we're going to read some text when we come back. I'm going to tell you more about the Wisconsin Film Festival, and maybe I'll dance. You don't want to miss this, folks. It's Nightlight with Pete Schwaba, live from Madison on the Civic Media Radio Network.
From Denmark to De Pere, this is 97.9 WGBW.
Feeling better is about feeling all kinds of things. You want to feel healthy, sure, but you also want to feel heard and understood, valued, even, well, loved. That's what we want too. We're Amplify Health, and we think the best way to care for someone is to care about them. That's why all our treatments include a little empathy. Welcome to healthcare that's all about caring. Welcome to Amplify Health by Bellin. A little empathy changes everything.
While the teams get ready to choose their top draft pick, you can help Mino and the Mayor choose their top craft pick.
Northeast Wisconsin is home to amazing breweries, wineries, cideries, and distilleries, and we need your help picking the best.
We've drafted 10 of our favorites, but which local craft beverage creator will go to number 1? That's up to you. Top craft pick creators include Sturgeon Spirits in Oshkosh, Timekeeper Distillery in Green Bay and Wausau, and Ledge Rock Distillery LLC in Eden. Vote for your favorite now by logging on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick. When you vote, you'll enter a random drawing to win $250 in gift cards from participating craft creators. Don't wait. Voting ends Friday, April 18th. Log on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick and vote right now. Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick, drafting Northeast Wisconsin's finest one sip at a time.
As a fellow military veteran, I relied on my team to get through very difficult missions. We had each other's back and supported our teammates through thick and thin. If you find yourself struggling to make it another day or know someone who is, reach out. Support is at reachoutwis.org.
Paid for by Advancing a Healthier Wisconsin Endowment with support by
in the midnight moonlight hour.
Welcome back. This is Nightlight. I am Pete Schwaba. We are coming to you from Madison, Wisconsin tonight, broadcasting statewide. Great to have you with me. Conrad Todd says there is some is it still Mank or Mark?
It's still Monk, I think. Still Monk, I think, is
Monk.
how he's. Yes, I thought it was Stillman's for a while, but yeah, it's a great beer. I'm gonna have
Stillman's
to take
would
one
be
of those.
better.
Take one of those for home.
For the game tonight. I don't understand where you put a product out with Still Monk. Just call it Stillman's or Still beer. Wouldn't it be easier to market if you have a name that's easier to say?
I mean, the thing about making names is there's so many taken already, you know?
I guess so. That's probably a family name. They probably had the recipe in the family for centuries, and I'm like, change your name. Jerk. Well, I'll have to try that. That looks pretty good. Hey, I was on the Todd Alba show today. Todd is so much fun. And I regretted, remember when he came on and made the popcorn pick of the week? And he
was in a tutu?
Pink tutu and a glass of scotch and a cigar and a cowboy hat. It was so great. But I got a suitcase. My wardrobe here is limited. So I walked in looking very, very plain. And I felt bad about that, but it was fun to be on the show. Also, a shout out to Aaron Zomers, who stuck around here to help me get set up tonight. And he is off to a movie night tonight. And speaking of movies, the Wisconsin Film Festival, folks, it has a few more days. We've got Milwaukee Film Festival coming up. We're going to be talking about that in the next week a little bit. That'll be fun. But this movie, A Road at Night, I was unable to attend it last night because I had to introduce a different film at another theater. But John Roach was at the party. John's been on the show, and he said he could not believe the response. I mean, if you sell out the Barrymore, the Threesome sold it out, basically, the movie The Threesome. And then I saw the Stones movie Saturday night, which I can't even say the title. It's too dirty for radio. And it really doesn't necessarily pertain to the movie. There's some dirty stuff in the movie, but it's mostly just a snapshot of the Stones backstage or playing pool during the day. And there's some great concert footage. There was a song, Stevie Wonder singing Satisfaction with Mick Jagger, and it was incredible. A young Stevie Wonder. It's worth a look. It's not a great movie, in my opinion. It's not even a great documentary, but the images they capture, it's pretty cool. And it's worth a look just because of what you're seeing and this moment in time of this great band. So I did dig that. But when the Barrymore sold out, that's something. And John's movie, A Road at Night, about Howard Moore, the Badger, who got in a horrible accident with his family, lost his wife and daughter in the accident. His son is fine and just started college, I guess, last semester. And Howard is not in great shape, but John says he's improving every day. He's still wheelchair bound. And but I guess Rashad Griffith was at the screening last night at the Barrymore, a lot of former players and coaches. And he said there just was not a dry eye in the house. Folks, if you want to be proud of Wisconsin, and more specifically Madison, but definitely Wisconsin and UW, check out A Road at Night. It just comes across, they come across as such a family, the whole program. And you know what, Conrad? It made me hate Duke even more.
That they're probably all happy that Duke lost too.
Yeah. Another fun Wisconsin-based movie I saw was Friday night. Amy Landecker, who I guess went to high school in Madison, she made a film called For Worse about a divorced woman in her 40s dating a much younger guy at first. That's funny. And then she meets Bradley Whitford, who I guess she's married to in real life. That was kind of a nice film, too. But I also had a chance to talk to Sean Hanisch and Kelly Call, who were behind the Brewers documentary, Just a Bit Outside. And Sean is going to come back on the show, I think, Friday with some big news about the release of that on streaming. So we'll do that. And they were a lot of fun to talk to and really basking in the glow of this documentary they made that is incredibly popular. So it was all fun stuff. You know what? I did not get to see the Packer movie, though. No Packers, No Life, about the Japanese Packer fans. But I did see Craig at the party last night, the director, Craig Benzine, and he said he couldn't believe the laughs it got. So we'll have to look for that movie when that drops on streaming, too. A lot of good stuff coming out of the Wisconsin Film Festival. Let's get to some text. We get the question tonight. Our question is, what is your favorite beer? It's National Beer Day, folks. And we're celebrating the Nightlight beer called Hazed on Radio, which you can get right now at Flick's Brewhouse. If you attend a movie there, or Wisconsin Film Festival movies there, I'm anxious to taste it today or tomorrow myself. Bridget on the text line, she's in the 818, says, Grandma Peg's favorite is hams. Wow. You don't see, I'm surprised at that.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know. I'm not disparaging. I don't know much about beer, but you just don't hear that about that beer much anymore.
Yeah.
They had great commercials, though, back in the 70s and 80s. Let's see. What else favorite? Anna from Madison says, hi, Pete and Conrad. My favorite beer, Spotted Cow. Chalk one up for Todd's favorite, too.
Yep.
Todd says it is their last name, Stillmonk. So it's a great name.
Yeah.
What would you call that? What kind of name do you think that is ethnically?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea.
Maybe Irish? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like
At
Irish.
the bottom of this.
The way
I'm going to Google it. Bridget says, Grandma Peg changed her mind. It's Chief Oshkosh beer. Oh, I've never heard of that.
I haven't either.
Good Wisconsin beer, though. Another theme because we got Spotted Cow. Sherry likes her raspberry iced tea. Steve from Florida says, I have to agree with Conrad. Summer Shandy, a Wisconsin classic. Is it that old? I thought Summer Shandy was kind of a new thing.
No, it's been out for a while.
Has it? Okay.
It's just the best tasting beer in summer.
Yeah. Try that Blue Moon. I'm telling you.
I love Blue Moon.
Very refreshing. Paula, also from the 920, Conrad's mom, a.k.a. Conrad's mom, as you probably know her, says, I missed Spotted Cow since I can't get it in Florida. I do like to try craft beers, my favorite being red ales. See, I don't even know what that means. Like, I kind of know what IPA means and lager. What's a dark red ale?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what the correct thing is, but it tastes good.
You know what? It's not only an embarrassment to yourself, Conrad, when you don't know what your mom is talking about. It embarrasses the show. And I'm not.
I know Spotted Cow.
Okay, all right. You just redeemed yourself. What's your favorite beer, folks? That is the question of the night here at Nightlight. Let us know at 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC. As always, the phone lines are open. You can comment on anything we're talking about here tonight. Great fun coming up. Johnny Beaner will be here when we get done with the news. That's coming up next on Nightlight with Pete Schwaba on the Civic Media Radio Network. WGBW, home for Nightlight with Pete Schwaba.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. A mental health resource that served anyone and everyone in Wisconsin for free has shut down. Savannah Tomei Olson has the story.
Uplift Wisconsin was a mental health warm line where people could call and get support from professionally certified peers. They served 24,000 Wisconsinites last year. The program started during the pandemic, but the Trump administration has cut $210 million in health funding to Wisconsin. Leaders of the Department of Health and Human Services say it's part of their effort to cut taxpayer waste on a crisis that's over. Their program had funding approved through September, but HHS canceled the last 6 months. The warm line shut down on Saturday, and this week they have to furlough 20 employees. Martina Golan-Graves is the head of Mental Health America of Wisconsin, which operates the warm line.
It couldn't have come at a worse time when we are seeing increased rates of anxiety and depression. People are struggling, kids and adolescents are struggling in their school settings, as well as adults in their workplaces. These cuts are
you here for the
impacting
film
real
festival?
people, and I'm
Okay.
really worried about the fallout and what that's going to look like in your community and my community in the upcoming days and weeks.
Governor Tony Evers had funding for the warm line included in his state budget, but of course that's not a sure thing and wouldn't even be available until the fall. Staff have now started fundraising, trying to keep the program going. For Civic Media News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson.
Last week, Wisconsin joined 22 other states and the District of Columbia in a lawsuit against HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in response to the cuts. A temporary restraining order was ordered Thursday. I'm Lisa Hale,
working all right,
97.9
but my schedule is more
WGBW
full.
News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.fm.
No, I wish I was busier right now. I mean, normally
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Tangled was a huge hit for Disney in 2010. Probably no surprise that there was a live action film in the works, but it has been put on pause. Reports that recent controversy surrounding Disney's Snow White, which was released a couple weeks ago, are making the studio skittish about Tangled, according to Variety. My guess is there are problems we don't know about because Mufasa the Lion King made $750 million globally. Sometimes there is more drama behind the scenes than on screen. Well, there are 3 more days of great film
I'll
screenings
travel
at the
anywhere. I just
Wisconsin
don't
Film
like to do-
Festival this week in Madison. Most of the screenings are at Flick's Brewhouse in Easttown Mall, so go to wisconsinfilmfest.org and check it out. If you couldn't make it to Madison for this amazing festival, don't sweat it, because Milwaukee's Film Festival is right around the corner. Let's all celebrate the movies, people. For more showbiz fun, tune into Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Enjoying this local program? Find the complete Civic Media lineup at civicmedia.us or the Civic Media app.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Some early evening clouds and maybe a flurry, otherwise a clearing sky tonight and cold with a low in the low 20s. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, a high to the low 40s. Then a rain chance returns to the area for Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 33.
I'm Dan Schaefer. Let's recombobulate. In the April 1st spring election, Susan Crawford won the incredibly expensive race for Wisconsin Supreme Court. And she didn't just win, but won decisively, gaining 55% of the vote, a 10-point margin ahead of her opponent, Brad Schimmel. It is a remarkable victory. And in so many ways, this race became a referendum on Elon Musk, from his prominent position in the Trump administration to the tens of millions of dollars he put towards backing Brad Schimmel in this race. And Wisconsin voters spoke decisively, rejecting Musk at this critical moment. All 72 counties in Wisconsin shifted to the left from last fall's election. That includes Brown County, home to Green Bay, where Musk held a rally just days before the election, handing out million-dollar checks. The sweeping results we're seeing are going to send a powerful message that will resonate nationally. Wisconsin voters spoke loud and clear, saying, "We cannot be bought."
Find all of Dan's work at the Recombobulation area and on our website at civicmedia.us. Todd Albaugh.
Hey, everybody, join us next time. Our old friend Pat Cratlow, host of Up.
Almost never. I mean, I'm judging they're in the middle of their funniest comic in Madison. And they have me as a judge.
Welcome back. This is Nightlight. I am Pete Schwaba. Brian from Milwaukee says O'Doul's a non-alcoholic beer. Okay, another non-alcoholic beer. I like that. Well done, Brian. He says can't have alcohol due to health reasons. Oh, well, that still counts though. I'll still give you props for because I know people. Honestly, Brian, I know people who have health reasons. That does not stop them from drinking alcohol. So at least you're taking your health seriously. John from Columbia County says Huberbach out of Monroe, Wisconsin. Does that sound familiar, Conrad?
No, I've never heard of that one.
Okay. All right. We just learned about a new beer, John. Thank you. It is National Beer Day, folks. Let us know what your favorite beer is. Maybe we can ask our guest. Oh, Barb from Waukesha says Bud Light Lime. That's the one. Oh, yeah, they put the lime right in the bottle. That's kind of cool. That saves you getting like a sting when you have hangnails if you're cutting the lime. Keep those texts coming, folks. We'll read them on the radio as they roll in. We have a call? Let's introduce Johnny, and I want Johnny to be able to talk about this call. Johnny Beaner is in the studio, folks. He's a Madison-based stand-up comedian. Very funny. One of my favorites. He's here in the studio for the second time, right, John?
Second time in studio.
In studio.
Millionth time on the show.
At least.
I'm a regular.
You're right. He's like our house band with no instruments. That's how crazy this is. So Johnny's here. We're going to talk to him about comedy a little bit. We're going to give John a comedy quiz, which I think will be fun. Ooh. And he's bravely admitted to taking part in it. Sure. It's not that tough, though. I think we'll be okay. But we'll find out what's going on with John. And let's take a call. This is Ollie from the North Woods, right, Con?
Yep.
All right, Ollie, what is going on tonight, my friend?
Well, I just wanted to say a couple of things. My favorite beer is root beer.
Nice. I like that. Now, the non-alcoholic kind?
Yep.
Is that for medical reasons?
But there is a new beer that I've heard on the brewer games that has either a tangerine or orange flavor to it.
Okay.
And I thought that sounded very interesting. I might try that someday.
Was that Blue Moon, Ollie? Because that's a big.
Well, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
When he mentioned Blue Moon, I thought, oh, that might be the maker of that.
It could be.
One. It just sounded very, very good, very light and refreshing for the summer. My favorite brand, though, is Leinenkugel's. One time years ago, I was at a garage sale, and I've always liked the Leinenkugel's Indian, and I happened to spy a Leinenkugel sign, and the lady said that she had taken it off the corn crib in her farm, and it's just awesome. It was near Stone Lake, and it's just awesome and full of bullet holes. So obviously, someone was taking pot shots at that old sign, but
Wow,
I bought it nonetheless.
That's really aggressive. I don't know why they would do that.
Was it Kid Rock?
Well, I suppose some young kids probably or something on the farm there,
Oh, that's such a great country attitude. It was just some kids shooting guns. It wasn't a big deal. Ollie, thank you so much for the call, as always. Have a great night.
Oh, okie doke. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. Ollie's going to pour a Blue Moon or a Leinenkugel's and have a root beer chaser. That's fantastic. John, it's great to have you here. You drove in. You said, I love this, too. I said, how far away do you live? And you said 18 minutes. You didn't even go miles. You just went time. How much time is this out of your life?
We're right above the club, so I know. It's a drive I make quite often.
Because you work comedy on state.
Yes.
Quite often. Nice. How are you, man?
I'm great.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. Good to see you.
It's great to have you. Are you a beer drinker?
I do partake in beer, yes.
Okay.
For medical reasons.
Self-diagnosed, no doubt. But
you know what? I'm not Blue Moon. That's usually my go-to because every place has Blue Moon. But I'm not above saying to the bartender, "Do you have any fruited sours?" I like beer that tastes yummy.
Yeah.
I'm not an IPA guy. Nope.
But there are lighter IPAs, right? Like
I don't know. I didn't give them enough chance.
I didn't.
First one was bad, and I was like, nope, back to the fruity stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the Spotted Cow, I would put in that category. It's got like a fruity kind of.
They have what is it? Spotted Cow. Who makes Spotted Cow again?
What is the Conrad? What's the name of the
New Glarus?
New Glarus. Yeah,
Yes.
they have raspberry tart. It's very
Beer?
good. They're expensive because it's like $10 for a 4-pack.
Oh,
but they're
wow.
so good.
But you know what? That's still cheaper than you pay in a bar.
Oh yeah.
So you could justify it, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I do when I'll buy like a 6-pack of Blue Moon non-alcoholic, and it's $10 for 6. And what is that? Like $1 or something, 80, whatever. I don't know. But
yeah,
I mean, I do it only. I only drink non-alcoholic beer on the weekends because I don't like to get too crazy.
You don't get too crazy.
No. So the last time I saw you, you were in Marinette. You did that charity, kids sports charity for me.
Yes.
I'm eager to know what you thought of my hometown, my adopted hometown. What did you think of the crowd? How do we compare to other Wisconsin audiences? Because we're a very small town, but we're a very proud town, John.
Well, let me ask you, is the crowd from that night a fair representative of the town? Because I don't know the town other than that night.
I would say the crowd that night drinks less than they do on a daily basis. No, I'm just kidding. They, yeah, that's a good. I mean, I would equate. I think the people are fun-loving and fun, but they do drink a lot, and they can get a little mouthy, and sometimes you got to take somebody down. But no, they can get a little loud, but it's all in good. It was not like heckling. It just was kind of that table talk where it's like, oh, this guy's really funny. It's like, it's nice to hear, but can you keep it down?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, you know?
They were very, if I recall correctly, they were very friendly. We had no troublemakers. It was, I just got the vibe that they were having a good time. There was no malicious intent or heckling during the show.
Right.
But everyone was, there's a lot of very drunk people. vocally. But it was fun. It was, that's one of those crowds where like you could tell they're having fun.
Yeah.
They were hard laughers. So it was, I liked it.
Right. Yeah. It's usually, I would say that was, I do the show. It's like once a year, and primarily, I would say typically they're very good crowds. I would say 3 times in the last 10 years we've had a crowd that got kind of loud, but not heckling.
Yeah.
And even when there has been a heckler, it's like the guy who thinks he's helping.
Right.
I'm just trying to help you out, buddy. It's like, okay, that's who we paid to see. The guy at table 3. Well, it was a fun night. John Egan was there, Jessica Phillips, and Gary did a guest set. It was just it was a fun night. So I thank you again for making it.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
I'm still paying that off, by the way. I'm still $40 a month on PayPal to get you up there.
Well, that's how it works.
Remember, I almost didn't pay you.
I do. Yes, I do remember.
So here's what happened. After the show, John was staying with his father-in-law, who actually lives right in the area. Jessica had her family with her. She went back to the hotel, and I said, let's go get a burger. And so we went to the bowling alley. We went to the Dome, and you ate. And we got up to leave, and I'm like, oh, my God, I haven't paid him yet. I just totally forgot. So the whole time you're eating, and I think we're having this great conversation. In the back of your head, you're probably like, is this guy going to pay? Like, was this a favor? What's happening?
I got to go get a burger to get paid? No, you know what? Honestly, I probably, especially gigs like that where it's like fun and you're hanging out with friends and comics, I have left gigs and been like, oh my God,
good.
I got to go back.
No, I don't feel so bad.
Yeah.
I literally got up to leave and I'm like, God, I got a wad of $4,000 in my bill. I got to pay John.
And that's how much I make per show.
Per show, right? You don't have to work. Yeah. So what? Do you have favorite rooms in Wisconsin, or favorite towns that are like that you equate to good crowds? Like I remember when I used to work Milwaukee, I'd go, that's going to be a great week.
Yeah.
The Milwaukee crowd at the Comedy Cafe is great. Is it like that for you with clubs in or out of Wisconsin?
Yeah, I would say, obviously Comedy on State. I don't know if your listeners are familiar with the reputation the club has, but it's, just nationwide, one of the best clubs.
Yeah.
So that anytime, I have an official date with this club on the calendar, it's like, oh, I'm looking forward to that. The Skyline in Appleton, I haven't worked there lately. Switched ownership,
right?
Years ago now. Boy, time really flies.
You haven't gotten around to reaching out.
I have been there, but it's not. It's a great club. But that was one when I was coming up and I was emceeing and then started featuring, where it was just like every weekend was just fire, and that was great.
Yeah.
And the same with JD's Milwaukee.
Right.
You could tape a special on a Thursday night, any night, because there was just such hot crowds. They had such curated, trained audiences that know they're getting a good show, And I think a lot of that has to be is because of the security. At Comedy on State's the same. They nip it in the bud right when it starts, so people know, oh, this is not a room where you can be a loud, drunken fool. Yeah.
And all you have to do is a couple times, right? And the crowd gets the message. Okay, we're here to listen to this guy on stage, right?
At the bouncer, they're on top of it. They're watching, and they're like, something happens, they'll come up and give them a warning. It's like, oh, they don't mess around. But remember, you worked the Comedy Cafe when JD was there?
He had just bought it. I had done a few. He came in to look at the club while I was on stage.
Oh,
so he could have just as easily not bought the club because of me. He always used to joke, "You're the reason I bought the club." Haha. But so I met him the first night he set foot in there, and then he ended up buying it. And I did work for him a few times, and I think I moved. So, but I like the previous owners. It was the same deal, like what you're talking about. They really were good at training the crowds.
Yeah, JD's henchmen. If you messed up, you felt like you were on a list somewhere.
Right?
They would stand behind you and very firmly tell you, you don't do that in this club.
Oh, no kidding.
So. If people got out of line,
what'd you do?
It wasn't me. I'm the comic. I was like, thank you.
Okay. I thought you meant
I'm
comics.
not saying I didn't get thrown out of there.
Right.
There was a time where this is the scariest thing, because it's an intimidating club to be in, JD and just.
It's an intimidating guy.
Very intimidating. So I'm downstairs, and I don't know if I was hosting, and I don't know if I started my watch, but one of them, Eric, comes running down. I was like, Peter, the headliner's done. Where the hell are you? And I was like, I thought I looked at my watch. I was like, whatever. Yeah. Very fun. He's like, get up there. And I was like, oh, and my stomach dropped. I come running up. The lights are on. The headliner's like, tip your wait staff. Have a good night. So then I go on stage, and right when I step on stage, they blast the music. So I was like, why did I even bother? And then I walk up to JD, and I was like, I am so sorry. I don't know if and he said to one of his guys, he was like, get him out of here. And he just grabbed me and took me outside. So I had to go back all the way around to get back in. I was just like, oh my God.
That was your punishment? Just kind of.
Yeah. I mean, he was like, when I got paid, he was like, gave me a talking to.
Okay. But he used you again.
Yeah.
It was an honest mistake.
He liked me, but he knew I was a kid. I was probably, I don't know, 20, 21. Like,
yeah,
I think they liked, we could scare them. That makes us, that's fun. Let's scare them. Let's scare the young comics.
That's the voice of Johnny Beaner, Madison-based comedian, joining me here in the studio. He works all over. He's been on Letterman. He's had his own dry bar special. He works here at Comedy on State, downstairs at Comedy on State. How do clubs do that? Because is it about training the crowd? Like you can, I think, intimidate a crowd or send the message that they don't heckle. But that club in particular just had great people that laughed. You can't tell people to laugh.
Right,
and they booked good comics, but even the comics, I remember occasionally I'd hear about a guy who goes, that room rocks. I love it. I was like, oh, they're good for you too. Wow. I hate to say that, but come on.
Yeah, there's rooms where it's like, if you can't do crush in that room, maybe comedy's not for you.
Right, exactly.
But that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, initially I want to say, they just know how to book good talent.
Yeah.
But you're right, because sometimes you're like,
Sheesh. All right, we're going to talk to, we have a comedy quiz we're going to give John, and then we have a clip of his comedy and a lot still to get to, folks. And Victoria Davis, a local journalist and award-winning writer, is here at 7:20. Be good to see Victoria. And what's your favorite beer? That's our question tonight. Very simple. There's no right or wrong answer. There's only your answer. So text us and let us know. This is Pete Schwaba and Nightlight on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Teardrop start, and it breaks my heart. When a teardrop falls, I wanna cry, cry, cry alone. When you're feeling blue, I'm waiting just for you. Someone's living for their love. Someone's living for their love.
Wabanon to Alloway. This is 97.9 WGBW.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com, sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Remembering Vietnam, brought to you by The Dispensary.
I got discharged in August of 1969. I didn't want anything to do with the war once I got home. I got married in 1970, and my wife and I would sit down to supper. The news would come on. If there was anything on there from Vietnam, I'd ask her to turn it off. I knew what those guys were going through. I didn't have to watch it. I was trying to forget it. It was only after I started talking to classes at the local schools that I started realizing that it was okay to open up and talk about what happened. Now I'm on 4 or 5 different Facebook sites talking with other veterans. When I do talk to students, I never, ever glorify war in any way. If you've actually been there, experienced, lived it, it's not possible to glorify it.
Hear this full story at WGBW.FM. Click on Remembering Vietnam. Brought to you by The Dispensary. Online at thed8dispensary.com.
Hey, it's
it's Amanda, and we all know that Northeast Wisconsin has some of the best events around, but trying to find them all can be tricky. So here at WGBW, we decided to do the work for you. Prevent boredom on any night by going to WGBW.fm and click events in the top right corner. You'll never have to spend forever scrolling to find out what's going on in your area. And if you got an event to share, hit us up by emailing info@WGBW.fm.
Grapefruit Radler. God, I don't even know how to pronounce half these beers. Welcome back. I'm Pete Schwaba. You got Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network. My guest is Johnny Beaner, a guy who only drinks beer for health reasons. We've established that. You tell your wife that, honey, I have to drink.
Doctor's orders.
I thought of you the other day because you have this great joke about holistic products. Your mother-in-law, and you said you have soap with like sticks.
Yeah, sticks and rocks and pebbles. Oh, yeah.
I have a moisturizer that I just use. I just use whatever my wife has.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same deal. It's like I'm rubbing pebbles in.
Yeah.
It's like part of it is like honey and the rest is pebbles, and some of it falls off in the sink. It's just so bizarre.
Yeah. And I don't feel clean after I use that stuff. I'm like, I need my Zest or my Irish Spring.
Right. Do you moisturize, John?
No.
No?
My wife gets on me about it.
Oh, really? You don't put anything on your face after a shower?
No. Should I?
Wow. You've like, I mean this as strictly platonically. You have radiant skin.
Thank you.
There's no way you don't moisturize.
Can I record you saying that and play it to my wife?
Conrad, let's clip that. But am I right about John's skin?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wow, I gotta come on the show more. I'm coming into the studio more often.
When you go to meetings in LA, I don't know how many meetings you had while you were out there, but like we would go into meetings and it was normal. Like my writing partner at the time, Greg, he's like 5 years older than me, and he looks like he's in his 30s. He just has skin, and it was not abnormal for just another man to say, "You have beautiful skin." And the first time he said that, I was like embarrassed. I was like blushing. And crawling down he didn't say it to me. He said it to Greg. I was like, "Oh my gosh, did I need to get out of here? Like, do these two want to be alone?" It was the weirdest thing. But then I thought it was normal. It was just like. And why can't you say that? You know, it's not a big deal. It doesn't mean you're like,
all right.
I just didn't grow up that way. Chris Elfheim. Hey, Chris from Appleton says grapefruit Radlers. I don't know what that is. It's a German Hefeweizen. Conrad, help me out. You're the beer guy here. Is it Hefeweizen?
I have no.
I think it's Hefeweizen.
I don't know.
I think it is too, with more juice than a shandy. Oh, okay. That sounds delicious. Sharky from Racine. Love that name. Hey, John, wonder when I was stopped drinking, was the St. Paul NA I got to decipher this text. I'm sorry. Hey, John, wonder when I was stopped drinking, was the St. Paul NA I look cool, I look suave? Is that one of your bits? You know this guy?
I don't think he has stopped drinking.
I'm glad you said that. He says, I drank it like I was a king and hope they still make that because of St. Paul with my very, very quality beer. And it was you. Couldn't tell the difference per se. Just didn't get drunk. So bingo. Conrad, you remember that text I read last week when I used voice?
Yes.
And it was just nonsense. I was texting Rob Thomas from the about being on the show, and it was like, my daughter to school, take the okay, Rob, see you next Thursday. Like, it just made no sense. Sharky, thank you for the text. We might need you to translate that a little bit, though. I don't know if you're using voice or having a few beers, but either way is fine. Jim from Appleton says, excluding microbrews because I have too many favorites to pick one. I'd have to go with Stroh's. Wow. That was a great commercial in the 70s. There was a guy crawling through the desert, and he's sweating, and he's got his pants wrapped around his head, and he's about to die. And someone offers him a glass of water, and he said, you know, I really had my heart set on a Stroh's. It was a great commercial. And then in the 608, AJ says, hi, Pete and Conrad. I hope you're enjoying Madison. I like beer. Huzzah. I hate to say it, but Spotted Cow is okay. It's kind of like Yinglings. You can only get it in certain places. The one beer that made me enjoy beer was Leinenkugel Dark, and it's hard to find. Otherwise, Vibtage Brew. See, I know so little about beer. I don't know if these are typos or if that's a word I just can't pronounce. But AJ says, otherwise, Vibtage Brewing makes a double ally called Dedication. That's awesome. Pack a punch, but would wonderful beer. All right, folks, you have to stop using voice text.
You got to proofread your text before you hit send.
And I'm the worst offender, I'm just saying. And then AJ says, No Packers, No Life was wonderful. I hope it gets streamed somewhere soon. I think it will, AJ. I think Craig was saying last night at the party I saw him at that it is expected to come out at some point. We'll have some information on that. And finally, Christine from Slinger says, Corona, such a mild and great taste. I like Corona, too.
I like Corona.
Yeah. Very smooth, especially with lime. She says, my husband doesn't drink beer, but when he was working in Mexico, he drank beer instead of water, and he actually liked it. Oh, wow. Gave up beer when he came back here. Okay. That's awesome, Christine. Thank you for the text. Thank you, everybody. Keep those texts coming. Johnny Beaner is here, folks. Madison-based comedian. What do you have coming up? Where can people see you?
JohnnyBeaner.com.
Yeah.
And as far as upcoming stuff, I thought I prepped before I came in here. Oh, Wauwatosa. On
nice.
April 18th. That's a Friday.
That's coming up. Okay.
At Venture Brew Company.
Nice.
And
Friday night. Okay.
That's right.
So, Milwaukee peeps, check them out. Johnny, this is the great thing. I say this every time you're here. Was the last comic David Letterman booked who hadn't been on the show at that point.
Yep.
Am I getting that right?
That's correct. It was in January, and then he was gone in April or May.
It's one of the coolest things ever. My son was home a couple weeks ago, and we were watching a bunch of Rupert G clips when Dave would be in his ear and he'd tell him to do stuff.
Okay, yeah.
He'd bring people's water at the table, and his thumb would be in the water. People would yell at him. It was so great. All right, when we come back, Johnny is going to take my comedy quiz I put together for him. We'll hear a little bit of his stand-up, and I don't know, talk hecklers or road stories. You got one?
Sure.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out during the news. Civic Media's news team is about to tell you what's up. We'll be right back after this. More with Johnny Beaner, Victoria Davis coming up at 7:20. This is Pete Schwaba and Night Light on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I don't know what I'd do without you, babe. Don't know where I'd be. You're not just another lover, no, you're everything to me. Every time I'm with you, baby, I can't believe it's true. When you're laying in my arms, you do the things you do.
W, home of Mino and the Mayor.
Earl Ingram. As we face an uncertain future, where do we go from here? What steps can we take to avert what appears to be an oncoming recession? Tune in tomorrow to the Earl Ingram Show for discussion.
The Earl Ingram Show, weekday mornings at 9. The Maggie Dawn Show.
A new texter on our text line said this: I think any other president would take these protests very seriously, but our current one couldn't care less. Anybody remember, Nero fiddling while Rome burned? You get a little of that vibe here. The man's off golfing over the weekend as the world economy is lit on fire and nosediving. Can't be bothered.
The Maggie Dawn Show, weekdays from 2 till 4 on your local Civic Media radio station and on the Civic Media app. This is your local Civic Media radio station. Want to hear even more? Anytime? Find all of it at civicmedia.us. This is 97.9 WGBW Denmark, Green Bay's real news and great conversation, a Civic Media radio station.
ABC News, I'm Stephanie Officer. Chief Justice John Roberts has issued a stay that, for now, keeps a man in El Salvador's anti-terror prison. The midnight deadline for his return, set by a Maryland-based federal judge, no longer applies. ABC's Stephen Portnoy.
It's a straightforward directive from the Chief Justice, pausing the order of Maryland-based District Court Judge Paula Sinas, who had set a midnight deadline for the man's return. Having been granted protection in 2019, Kilmar Abrego Garcia was not supposed to be deported to his native country, and the government says his removal last month was a mistake. But the administration also claims Abrego Garcia was an MS-13 member, and it argues that now that he's back in El Salvador, there's nothing the American courts can do about it.
A popular musician gets a high honor. Jelly Roll receiving the Global Literacy Award at the World Literacy Summit, celebrating his global influence from the University of Oxford as part of the World Literacy Summit 2025. This is ABC News.
I'm Lisa Hale with WGBW News. Your news roundup in quick podcast form. You can find it anywhere at the WGBW website, WGBW.FM. For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Hands off in Wisconsin. Thousands of people protested the first 75 days of the Trump administration here in northeast Wisconsin over the weekend. Crowds in Green Bay, Appleton, and Oshkosh exceeded a combined 4,000 people with signs and chants. The protesters were supporting reproductive rights, Medicare, due process for people here illegally, school funding, and in defense of the U.S. Constitution. Signs said things like laws, not chainsaws, hands off veterans' benefits, and hate never made any nation great. There were more than 1,000 hands-off rallies all over the country. And in Wisconsin, there were rallies in Madison, Stevens Point, Eau Claire, and other cities. The White House responded by saying President Trump, quote, will always protect Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid for eligible beneficiaries. End quote. Experts have said that the budget goals Republicans passed are impossible without cutting some social services. If you've been watching the gas prices the past week, you know it's been a roller coaster of up and down. Melissa Kay reports.
Gas prices rose 12.5 cents over the last week for an average of $3.14 today. This is over 21 cents higher than a month ago, but still 24.3 cents per gallon lower than this time last year. According to officials at GasBuddy, this jump in prices will be temporary. Oil prices have dropped with growing concerns over the tariff announcement from the U.S. The stock market has dropped sharply and the risk of a recession has increased. Officials explain that if the tariffs aren't scaled back soon, the national average price of gas could fall below $3 in the weeks ahead. Oil prices are now at their lowest level since the early days of the pandemic in 2021.
I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News. For news anytime, log on to WGBW.FM.
The Brewers pick up a pitcher. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers making a trade today for right-handed pitcher Quinn Priester from the Red Sox. He's 24 years old, and he was a first-round pick for the Pirates back in 2019. In exchange, the Brewers send outfielder Joferi Rodriguez to Boston and a draft pick. This comes after lefty Nestor Cortez had to be placed on the 15-day IL with an elbow injury. Brewers beating the Reds yesterday, 8-2, thanks to 2 home runs by Jackson Churio and 5 runs batted in. Brewers manager Pat Murphy.
Jack, has been a little bit up and down, but today was really, really impressive.
Milwaukee now at 500 after winning 5 of their last 6 games. College hoops. Wisconsin forward Xavier Amos says he's leaving the Badgers after just 1 year, entering the transfer portal. Greg Gard, though, has 3 more players coming in. The Bucks beat the Pelicans last night, 111-107, with Giannis taking the night off for rest. He's been named the NBA's Eastern Conference Player of the Week. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
Local radio for you and your community. It's Civic Media's mission with stations across Wisconsin. Find your favorites at civicmedia.us.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Some early evening clouds and maybe a flurry, otherwise a clearing sky tonight and cold with a low in the low 20s. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, a high to the low 40s. Then a rain chance returns to the area for Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 33.
Reviewing the week's legal news with a friend of the court.
Well, I'm looking forward to Saturday morning. I haven't missed one. Outstanding, just like being in school.
It has been a week in the areas of law and government and the aspiration for justice in America. As always, I am delighted. I am honored that you have chosen to spend some of your weekend time with me in discussion.
Amicus, a law review with Jim Santel. Saturday mornings from 9 to 11.
Farm Rescue makes sure that you aren't alone. They're there to extend the hand and to take the burden.
Even the most independent farmers need help sometimes, and asking for that help is protecting the future. Farm Rescue provides equipment and volunteers free of charge to assist in times of crisis. We're currently accepting applications for planting and haying assistance. If you or someone you know could use our help, call 701-252-2017 or visit farmrescue.org.
Maggie Dawn.
At 2:30, I'm joined by Civic Media's political editor, Dan Schaefer, for the State Slate. What does the tanking economy and the April 1st election outcomes mean for
Broadcasting live from the Civic Media Studios in Green Bay, this is Night Light with Pete Schwaba, your inside source on everything entertainment from Wisconsin to Hollywood. And now, a guy who loves to watch true crime, but only if it's shoplifting, Pete Schwaba.
Welcome back. As we kick off hour number 2 here at Nightlight, coming to you from downtown Madison, right above beautiful State Street here in our state's capital. Johnny Beaner is here with me in studio. The great Madison comedian is joining me. John, it's good to have you.
It's good to be here.
And you're not a huge beer drinker like myself.
I'm not. I don't get messy. I'm not saying you do. I just.
No, well, yeah.
I'm not a huge beer drinker.
I think that's smart. You have to write comedy. You can't be too drunk when you do that kind of stuff. John's here. We're going to give him a comedy quiz in a couple minutes. Our question of the night is, what is your favorite beer? It is National Beer Day. And we're also kind of celebrating a Nightlight-inspired beer that you can get out at Flick's Brewhouse at Easttown Mall right now called Hazed on Radio. Brewmaster Dave Hansen put it together, reached out. We said, yes, of course, please make a Nightlight beer. And it's been available, I think, just during the film festival, when the film festival started. So I'll probably pop out there today or tomorrow and have a little taste and see how great Dave's work is. Jack from Merrimack says, I'm not much of a beer drinker, but my favorite beer was Meisterbrow. Wow, we got some, I don't want to say that's on par with Rhinelander beer or Blatz, but I always thought Meisterbrow was kind of one of those inexpensive beers you get when you're in college, maybe? I could be totally wrong.
Is that like Hams?
Yeah, like Hams or something.
Okay.
When someone said Hams before, too. But Meisterbrow, it's got a high-end name. I don't know. Jack says, it used to be brewed in Chicago and owned by Miller, if I recall correctly. Its brewery was the last Chicago brewery to close. I do kind of remember that now that you say that, Jack. He says, and it hasn't been produced since 1978. He says, I'm an old guy. What can I say? Come on, Jack. You're not that old. Currently, I'll have a beer with pizza or a brat, and I prefer Blue Moon. That's number 3 for Blue Moon, Conrad. What do you make of that?
I mean, Blue Moon's a good beer.
Yeah. Damn right. Well said. All right. So keep those texts coming, folks. We'll read them as they come in. What is your favorite beer? Johnny Beaner is here. We've got a few more minutes with John. He's going to take our comedian quiz. So we talked about your Letterman spot. You got a dry bar comedy spot, which is really cool. That's like the new Comedy Central special. Everybody.
It's a
milestone.
It's a good. I got a lot of mileage out of that.
Yeah.
A couple of the clips they put on went really viral, and I got a lot of work from it. So those are good.
The clips we have of you are so great. And tell us first. I want to play a clip of yours, but tell us about the Cavalry podcast.
The Cavalry it's a podcast me and Andrew Slater, another fantastic comedian. We do together. We came up with it. We were on a cruise ship together when COVID hit, so. It was oh, well, we can't work anymore. You want to do a podcast just to, keep our brains going. And we are on episode 257 or something. So we've been doing it ever since, 2020 when the COVID hit. And it's basically the gist of it is, the cavalry. It's the cavalry, not the Calvary. As people always say. Why is it a religious thing? No, it's like calling in the cavalry. We'll bring topics that we get a lot of pushback on. And then we, present the topic and we're looking for backups for the other person, to back you up. And we're usually able to back each other up, but sometimes we're like, no, that's ridiculous. You're wrong.
Is he a Wisconsin comic or is
he is not? He lives in Portland.
Oh, that's so cool.
So he's out west.
Is it only comedy talk, or do you have talk about other comedians?
It's not only comedy talk. I mean, half the episode is us just kind of shooting the breeze, talking about whatever our week and just things, and then we get into the topics the second half.
Is there a recipe exchange or anything like that?
No, we have different segments. Sometimes we have appliance talk. If I had to order a fridge from Menards, I'll talk about that. We have sports talk. That's kind of a big thing because he's a big sports guy.
Okay.
Sports will affect his mood, his demeanor. I don't follow sports. I don't know anything about sports. So that's kind of a fun dynamic,
Let him
when I
vent.
ask questions. And we did a bracket, and then we did one for football, and he gets so frustrated because I'll win with just no knowledge at all. I'll be like, oh, okay, let me just hit random, and then I somehow beat him. And he's like, this is ridiculous.
So great. Do you mind if we play a clip of your comedy? This is one of my favorite jokes.
Oh, I insist.
It's not your comedy. It's another comedian.
Oh,
I think you'll like
let's
him.
not. Can we skip it?
No, this is Johnny Beaner talking. This is one of my favorite bits I've ever heard, folks. Conrad, let's play the clip of when he was in third grade, please.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, like he said, my name's Johnny Beaner. So, obviously that sucked growing up. Thank you. That always hurts my feelings. Picture this little Johnny Beaner out at recess, third grade, trying to play kickball. Just trying to fit in, but I'm having a hard time. I got some, bullies circling around me chanting, Johnny Beaner has a tiny wiener. I was a very logical kid, Only thing I could think to say back was, yeah. Yeah, I'm 9. Pretty sure we all have tiny wieners. We're third graders. You're making fun of me. If you want to make fun of someone, we should be making fun of the kid that's hung like a horse. He's the weirdo. What's he doing with a grown man's penis in third grade, right? He's got nothing to look forward to. Mine's going to get bigger. I've seen my dad's. Right? I think we all have at some point. Right? You seen your dad's penis? Yeah. I was just kidding. Oh, we got a weirdo at the end of row 1 here. Please tell me it wasn't recently.
So great. I would say that's my favorite, and the soap. Are my two
Okay,
favorite
those
Johnny
are two
Beaners.
excellent choices.
Those are got to be go-tos, like tried and true.
Yeah.
If you're having a terrible crowd, all right, I've still got the wiener
The
joke. in
Beaner
soap.
wiener, that's probably the oldest joke that I still do.
Okay.
Because it's, I'm not a household name. And if they let's go see comedy and the comedian is Johnny Beaner, I can't just ignore my name,
Right. Yeah, you kind of have to.
I mean,
do
I
something
can,
about
I
that.
do sometimes because I've done that bit so many times, but it's such perfect because people are like, yeah, that is an inconvenient name to have as a child.
Oh, that's good stuff. Are you ready to take our comedy quiz?
I'm ready.
All right, this is going to be exciting, folks. This is the first ever quiz, stand-up comedy related quiz given to a comedian. There's a lot of ramifications there, but this is the first time we've done this, and Johnny's our guinea pig, so I think he'll do quite well, though. I'm excited. Johnny Beaner taking the first ever Night Lite stand-up comedy quiz. Conrad, you got the bell ready? All right. I was worried Conrad was out having a smoke or something. Where's no bell? He doesn't smoke. All right. This comedian has a famous bit about the 7 words you can't say on TV.
George Carlin.
Yes. All right.
All right. Oh, 7 bells.
That's
all right.
It's lackluster. We usually I have a bell too, but I don't have one here in Madison. So just think about the bells.
There's got to be an app or something.
Yeah, right. Probably. All right. Johnny's 1 for 1. This comedian is now disgraced, but had a 1980s sitcom where he played an OBGYN and would wear colorful sweaters.
Bill Cosby.
Correct.
Boy. Hey, all right. We're on a game show now.
I thought he took a powder. He was just looking for a better effect.
Right.
That's what you get with Conrad.
That's a good
He's
one.
always working. All right, 2 for 2. This comedian is famous for his observational humor in his show about nothing.
Ooh, Seinfeld.
Yes, 3 for 3. Johnny
I'm seeing him at the
Beaner.
Overture sometime coming up.
You're seeing Seinfeld at the
Yeah.
Overture Center? Oh, wow.
In
How
a
much
few
are those
months.
tickets, just out of curiosity?
I think $80. I don't think we're
That's
near
not
the
too
front.
bad. Oh, well.
We're going with me and my wife are going with some friends.
They're selling seats that out here by the bus stop that are like $14. Not bad. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Is
I've
he
seen
still-
him before. I've been on a show with him in New York.
Oh,
Yeah.
no kidding. That's great. I've seen him live twice, and he's great. But it was so long ago, I wouldn't even know. Like, I don't even know what he talks about now. Is it still just stand-up, or is it him just, like, talking about his career?
I think he does improv now.
He does improv.
No.
He plays freeze
He does
tag.
arms expert.
All right, let's get back to our quiz. Seinfeld gets enough shout outs.
Yeah.
All right. Johnny Beaner, Nightlight Quiz. This famous comedian had her own show about her blue collar family and worked in a diner where they served loose meat sandwiches. The show also starred Laurie Metcalf.
Roseanne.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
Great show.
Me and my wife recently revisited that. and
It's a
pretty funny.
phenomenal. Yeah, I love that. My wife got me into that show because I liked her comedy okay, but her TV show was outstanding, you know? All right. Johnny's 4 for 4. This comedian played a sports writer who played a sports writer who lives near his brother, also played by a comedian and his parents.
Ray Romano.
Yes, Johnny is 5 for 5. Is that the Jeopardy bell?
I don't know.
Yes, no.
Just says right on it.
It just says what?
Right.
Okay. All right. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Like correct. Right.
Oh, right.
Like you got the right answer.
Got
Yeah.
it. All right. This comedian was arrested in Chicago on December 4th, 1962, after a performance at the Gates of Horn Club in Chicago for violating a state obscenity statute.
Is that George Carlin again?
No. Even got
That was Wisconsin, wasn't it? Wasn't he arrested in Wisconsin?
Carlin?
Yeah, Carlin.
Maybe.
This one, I don't know.
He's the influence of a lot of comedians.
Oh, Bill Hicks?
No, pre-Bill Hicks. This guy was back in the 50s. First name starts with an L.
Larry?
No.
Lewis? Lonnie?
Lenny Bruce.
Lenny Bruce.
Conrad, do you have a wah-wah?
Ah.
All right, that'll work. All right, you're still doing well. You're 5 for 6.
Okay.
That was a tough one. This comedian put out a comedy album called Delirious and joined the cast of Saturday Night Live at just 19 years old.
Eddie Murphy.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Johnny's 6 for 7. This comedian has recently played comedy on stage, and she currently hosts the show After Midnight.
Oh, Taylor Tomlinson.
Correct.
Great comedian.
Get delay there, like a swear delay. This Minnesota native used to be married to Roseanne Barr.
Tom Arnold?
Yes. Wow, nice, dude. All right.
I worked with Tom.
Did you?
He wouldn't let me sell my T-shirts.
Oh, that's so lame.
I know.
Like, you need the money, right? You're opening.
Well, I was opening for him. This was a long time ago, and I showed up, and the club owner was like, "Oh, Johnny was wondering if he could sell T-shirts." And Tom goes, "Oh, you're going to ask me right in front of him?" And then he goes, "Yeah, that's fine." So I got to sell Thursday, and then when I showed up Friday, the club owner was like, "You're not selling the rest of the weekend."
Johnny Beaner, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks, buddy.
Yay!
This was fun.
How did I do?
Check him out in Wauwatosa. 7 for 8. Not too
Hey, I'll
bad.
take
We'll
it.
continue this next time. I got a lot more questions. All right. We're coming right back with award-winning writer, Victoria Davis. Thanks, John.
Thank you. All right.
Now she's gone and I am free, and she can't do a thing to me.
You're listening to the Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for the Todd Allball Show.
The 2025 draft is almost here, bringing in guests from around the world for this once-in-a-lifetime event. Enjoy ultra-high-end luxury with Simple Life Hospitality's NFL Draft Homes. Available to fit all budgets. Experience hospitality at its finest with concierge services like private chefs, transportation, grocery delivery, and daily excursions. Doing a corporate retreat? Have your company host a party at a draft home in walking distance to Lambeau. Visit SimpleLifeRentals.com and make the most of this unforgettable event.
Mark your calendars for heart-pumping, exhilarating action at the 2025 Queen Marinette's Run the River Powerboat Races in Marinette, Wisconsin on June 7th and 8th. The action will be non-stop as these high-octane boats reach speeds over 105 miles per hour. Races kick off on Saturday and Sunday at 12:30 p.m. and will run throughout the day. Free for the whole family, this is the perfect summertime weekend getaway. For more information, head to fishonmarinette.com and click on the events page.
Did you know that Wisconsin has a new, quick, and free online tax filing tool called IRS Direct File? Direct File is changing how people file their taxes and bringing more money into our state through the federal Earned Income Tax Credit and Child Tax Credit. File your federal and state taxes online directly with the IRS from your smartphone or computer. On average, file in less than 1 hour. Available in English and Spanish. Visit directfile.irs.gov to see if you're eligible. Sponsored by United Way of Wisconsin.
The Todd Alba Show.
Markets continue to tumble after Donald Trump's additional tariffs. I'm not here to tell anybody, oh, I told you so. I think it goes to show how much hurt, anxiety, and angst there was in the voting public in the fall. They were looking for anything to believe in. But now the hard, cold reality is starting to slap people in the face. Trump and Vance have lied, and now the chickens are coming home to roost.
The Todd Alba Show.
Our first ever Nightlight quiz was given to a first ever Nightlight comedy quiz was given to Johnny Beaner, and he did quite well. 7 for 8. We'll finish that up next time he's on the show. This is Nightlight with Pete Schwaba. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our question of the night is, what is your favorite beer? It is National Beer Day, and we're also celebrating the Nightlight beer that you can now get at Flick's Brewhouse out at Easttown Mall called Hazed on Radio. It will be there probably until supplies run out, I would assume. Brewmaster Dave Hansen, it's his own creation, and he is a great guy who does great work. So, but that inspired our question, along with National Beer Day. What is your favorite beer? PJ on the stream says New Glarus Spotted Cow, all the way for me. Conrad, what is that, 4 for Spotted Cow?
Yeah, I think so. It might be,
I think Spotted
might be a
Cow's
winner
winning.
tonight. Yeah,
It could be. But 3 Blue Moon, but Blue Moon non-alcoholic for me. Because I'm a lush. I still get drunk, even though it's not alcoholic. I don't know how that happens, but that's how much of a lush I am. Steady Eddie. Let's say, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to introduce our guest. Then we'll read Steady Eddie's text because I want her to be part of that. And I want her to hear the joy that is a Steady Eddie text. So joining me now on the program is award-winning journalist and writer and Madisonian Victoria Davis.
Hello.
How are you? Can I say you're from the Capital Times? I know you work for there or contribute. I don't know how. I didn't know
I've
the
got
proper.
2 main gigs, and the Cap Times is my local gig, and then Animation World Network is my, my kind of not abroad. What am I saying? The remote gig, abroad gig. We do cover global stuff, but yeah, that's from my kind of college stomping grounds in SoCal.
Wow. So those are 2 very different publications, I would imagine. You don't get
both arts and culture, which is great.
Okay.
So I kind of get the best of both worlds with local stuff here and then stuff that's going on in Hollywood or in France at Annecy and things like that.
I love that. And I love that you have that connection to that creative world and animation. Tell us how you ended up, because that's in Southern California. Mm-hmm. And you've been writing for them for a while, correct?
Yeah, I think 5 years now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long have you been back here?
And with Cap Times, I think either 5 or 6 years.
Okay. And are you a native Wisconsinite?
No, I'm from Minnesota originally.
That's right. Your husband is from here.
No, we're both from Minnesota. But we went out to California for my college and because he was a Marine. Okay. And then we came here for his college.
Wow.
I know, we're all over the place.
The couple that works together. Look at this power couple. Okay, so you chose Wisconsin.
Yes.
Over Minnesota when you came back to the Midwest. Do you get a lot of grief for that?
We do get a lot of grief, but we're not sorry. It's so much warmer down here. And you wouldn't think 4 hours makes a big difference, but it really, really does.
Where in Minnesota was it?
We were in just the Twin Cities. We weren't super far north, but they got like a foot of snow this week, and it's been like summer and rainy here. So.
And you're here in nice, warm Madison.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I'll take this anytime.
So this is great because Madison is like, I mean, honestly, of Midwestern cities, take away, like, I don't know, if you're from Detroit or Chicago or maybe even Milwaukee, which isn't as big as those towns, but you can't beat a city this size.
I agree.
Where else are you going to go?
Yeah.
And find a city this size, which feels even bigger than it is, but it's really not that big.
And you have access to the other big cities that are not too far away.
Correct.
So you can kind of get your fix and then come home to kind of a less
When
hectic.
you say get your fix, you don't mean drive there to buy drugs.
No.
Because you can get those here, Victoria. I don't want to. Okay.
That's true. That's true. We can now. That's true.
God,
Thanks
I've
for
been
the reminder.
Wasting all this gas money for the last 5 years. All right.
Yes.
Well,
no, get your big city fix.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean. All right. Well, that's exciting. So tell us about the work you do for, what was the other publication called?
So Animation World Network is the
Animation
one
World
remotely.
Network. Okay.
Yeah. So that's like we cover animation both in the US and abroad.
Wow. What does that mean, cover animation? Like
So we
shows
interview-
or comic strips?
Shows. We've done comic strips before. We've done games. We've done TV shows and movies. We interview directors, producers, voice actors, the animators, obviously. We've interviewed storyboard artists. We try to cover as much of that process as possible.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
So, and then you interviewed me, disclaimer,
I did,
for the Cap
yes.
Times. You wrote this lovely article. And
because you were in LA for a while, too.
I was.
Yeah.
I lived there for 14 years. And they, it was great. I loved Southern California. It was beautiful weather. And the longer, if we stayed out there another year, we probably never would have left. It was one of those kind of things.
I know. It's really hard
Yeah.
to see yourself living anywhere else when you're there. Because
Right.
it's so wonderful. And then you go somewhere else and you're like, oh, I don't have to pay like $1,000 for gas.
Right, exactly. And
There's
we
benefits.
would come back to Wisconsin in the summer and at Christmas for long periods of time because my wife is a teacher.
Yeah.
And I was at the time writing movies and I could do that from wherever. So
Mhm.
we would come back and we were like, this is great. And then we moved back here. It's like, well, that was great because we're on vacation. Now we have to work and we have to stay here the whole winter. But
Exactly.
it's great. It's like you can't beat. Wisconsin is a very easy state to live in. I
It's
think.
not, it's not too bad at all. Yeah, like I said, I'd pick it over Minnesota.
All right, we won't tell the. Oh, I think actually, Conrad, do we broadcast in Minnesota?
No.
Okay, sure.
They'll never.
Well,
We don't
yeah,
let them
we do
listen.
actually on the Civic Media app.
That's true. Or
Oh,
the
well-
stream. We go anywhere.
I
So.
still love Minnesota, but not enough to live there.
Too little, too late. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite beer? Are you a beer drinker?
I love a good raspberry beer. There's actually one of the local pubs here sells it, and it's always really good. But it's hard for me to remember what season it's in because I always go and I ask for it. They go, "Oh, we don't have it in stock." I think it's a fall thing.
Really?
But yeah, it's like a kind of a sour raspberry beer.
That's interesting. I
Really
didn't
good.
know. I know that like people say fruity beers, but I
Yeah.
didn't know actually. Like I know orange is a big thing, like in Blue Moon and that. But I
Yeah,
didn't-
that's true.
All right. What about your husband? Is he a beer drinker?
Yeah, as dark as it comes, basically. he
I
likes
just-
to
I-
feel the burn in his mouth when he's drinking a beer.
Is that
I
like
can't do that.
Is that like Guinness?
I think
Okay,
Guinness.
that's the
He's
dark
he's a
one.
big whiskey guy too. So like,
I love
just
whiskey.
yeah, the darker the better. I think.
I haven't had a drink in 2 years, and I might have to go off.
Oh, no!
Because you mentioned whiskey.
I apologize.
Just don't tell the court.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. So Victoria Davis is here, folks. We don't have a quiz for you, but next time you're here, I'll have a quiz for you. We'll think of
Okay.
some kind of thing. But we're going to talk about kids' horror films. This is interesting because Victoria wrote a piece. Is it appropriate? Is it not? And then I want to ask you if you guys have ages in mind when you're going to
Yeah.
let your kid do this, when you're going to let your kid
Yeah.
do that. That'll be fun. And then I know you saw something at the Wisconsin Film Festival.
I saw a
too, right?
couple things. Yeah.
All right, we'll talk about that too. That's all coming up after Civic Media's news team tells you what's up, and we read some more of your texts. What is your favorite beer, folks? It's a Monday. It's a great night to talk about beer. This is Pete Schwaba and Nite Lite on the Civic Media Radio Network.
There's progress we have found a way to talk around the problem. Building towers foresight isn't anything at all. Fly the sky and sell the sky and leave the sky and tell the sky.
Talk of Green Bay, WGBW, home for Matinee on Air.
Your news, conversations, and a whole lot of fun. It's all on your local Civic Media radio station or the Civic Media app.
For 97.9 WGBW News, I'm Lisa Hale. Wisconsin Attorney General Josh Kaul has announced the state has joined another lawsuit against the Trump administration. This latest lawsuit was filed by 19 states against President Donald Trump's executive order that would require voters to prove their citizenship when registering to vote in federal races. It also bans clerks from counting absentee ballots received after Election Day. The coalition argues that the executive order usurps constitutional power awarded to the states and would decrease overall voter participation. It's not the DNR, but rather the DMV that's warning about a problem with phishing. Stuart J. Waddles has more.
The Wisconsin DMV is warning about a phishing scam where crooks impersonate the agency through text messages. The scams claim there's a final reminder for an outstanding toll. Wisconsin doesn't have toll roads. The aim is to trick you into clicking fake links or sharing personal information. If you do get scammed, you're being told to call local police.
Thousands of pounds of Johnsonville cheddar brats are being recalled because they may contain hard plastic. The USDA announced the recall Saturday. The brats in question were produced on February 5th, 2025, and have EST 1647 on the front label. The brats were sold in 10 states, including Wisconsin. Oshkosh Defense, a subsidiary of the Oshkosh Corporation, landed a $95 million order from the U.S. Army for what is described as modernized autonomy-ready palletized load systems. A press release says these systems promote improvements to soldier safety and broaden battlefield awareness. The order is part of a $1.5 billion 5-year deal between the Army and Oshkosh Defense. I'm Lisa Hale, 97.9 WGBW News.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Val Kilmer passed away last Tuesday, and colleagues and movie fans alike have been eulogizing him and discussing his incredible body of work. Last week at CinemaCon in Las Vegas, Tom Cruise discussed his friend and co-star from Top Gun. Cruise asked the crowd for a moment of silence, then said to the crowd, "Thank you, Val. Wish you well on your next journey." Cruise also told the crowd he admired Kilmer's work on screen, the way he lived his life off-screen, and said he was honored when Kilmer joined the cast of Top Gun. Speaking of Kilmer, his co-star in MacGruber, Will Forte, says Kilmer asked him to be on The Amazing Race in 2010. Kilmer was having a dispute with his landlord and moved in with Forte, who turned him on to reality TV. The two loved the show, The Amazing Race, so much they considered doing it until their agents put the kibosh on it. Forte says not doing the show with his friend is one of the biggest regrets of his career. For more showbiz fun, tune into Night Light with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
You can always continue the conversation on social media. Share your thoughts when you find and follow Civic Media on Facebook, X, and Instagram.
I'm meteorologist Mace Michaels. Some early evening clouds and maybe a flurry, otherwise a clearing sky tonight and cold with a low in the low 20s. Mostly sunny for tomorrow, a high to the low 40s. Then a rain chance returns to the area for Wednesday and Thursday. Right now it's 33.
Keeping you connected to your local community with good news and great conversation. Here's Terry Barr with the Civic Media Radio Network.
He's delivering on the promise he made last season. Packers quarterback Jordan Love pledged to donate new sports cleats to entire teams in need this spring for every touchdown he scored. Now, 26 teams across the state are getting those new cleats. Green Bay News Bureau Chief Lisa Hale explains Love's goal.
The Love for Cleats campaign aligns with the Hands of Love Foundation's overall mission to encourage children from all backgrounds to engage in sports, promoting physical and mental well-being.
The average price of decent sports cleats runs around $150. Softball, baseball, football, and soccer teams, including Marinette, Oconto, Howard Swamico, Green Bay East and West, Appleton West, and Kewanee, are included on Love's list. Until next time, I'm Terry Barr.
On Tuesday's show, our good friend Michael Freeman from Simple Life Hospitality joins us.
Welcome back. sometimes I just kind of space out for a minute. I almost just started when Conrad pointed at me, singing along. Like, oh, this is my part. I come in, and I'm so glad I didn't.
The
do
music
that.
choices on the show are very good.
Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate that. I have an eclectic taste. We have, hey, we haven't had any jazz in a while, Con.
I'll throw that in.
We've got the Miles. Yeah, let's. But thank you. It's,
Yeah, no,
music
really
is
good.
everything, right?
Yeah,
It's,
the last time I was on here, you guys had Katy Perry on, and I was like, this is fantastic.
oh, yeah. I like that song. That's the voice of Victoria Davis. She is an award-winning writer. She writes for the Capital Times, and she is in the studio here with us tonight at Night Light. I'm going to read this Steady Eddie text because you see the length of this text?
I see it, yeah.
He is a prolific texter, and he does such a great job, and I want to make sure we don't miss it. So we're going to read this, and then we'll get back to our interview here. But Steady Eddie, he's in the 608. He says, my dad would drink a couple 3 Chief Oshkosh beers, which was my mother-in-law's favorite beer. So Eddie he's incorporating moments of tonight's show into his text, which is no small feat. That's pretty impressive. He says, returnable brown bottles, 24 in a case. I believe you now, Steady Eddie. That's impressive. He says, when we watched the Packers on TV in the era of Vince Lombardi, Bart Starr, Willie Wood, Max McGee, and Paul Hornung, the Golden Boy, those are the days, my friend, we thought they'd never end. He incorporates music. It's everything. He says, Pete, FYI, there was a real Chief Oshkosh. Please ask your Wisconsin expert guy about Chief Oshkosh next time he's on your show. Con memo.
Sounds good.
You got it, buddy?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's Frank Anderson, I'm sure is who he's talking about. He says, I'm a light drinker, but I would never drink a light beer. I would never drink a light beer. Why would anyone do that? I drink gluten-free beer these days for health reasons, doctor's orders. Alt Brewing in Madison makes some delicious, rich, and expensive gluten-free beer. Hollywood Nights is a good one. Okay, good to know. Thank you, Steady Eddie.
Beer is probably so much better for you.
I would imagine.
Just all of like the wheat that's
constant.
in that.
I know. Conrad's mom checks in and says another good beer is the Blueberry Bobber. Does that sound familiar, Conrad?
Yeah, that's a great
Your mom
beer out
thinks
of
so?
Appleton. Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at that. All right, Wisconsin beer. Bringing it local. I love this. Great text tonight. Keep them coming, folks. You still got time. What is your favorite beer? Victoria Davis is here. And I want to ask you, okay, so you were at the Wisconsin Film Festival this year.
Yeah.
I feel inundated with the festival. It's just, I'm doing the Q&As and the introductions, and I saw some great films. What did you see?
I got to see, so one of my favorites that I saw was Alone, which was a film that was done last year. It's actually a student-made film with, I'm forgetting the name of the organization, but it's basically it's kind of a Passengers meets Wall-E. You've got it, but short film.
Oh.
It's about this little robot that's kind of managing this ship by herself, and she decides to make herself a friend. And it's very cute. And then she discovers that because she made this robot with an energy source that's powering the ship, she has to kind of choose between the two. And I won't spoil it for people that want to go see it, but the animation's beautiful, and I, being a mom, cried.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of kind of parallels to parenthood and to even sibling relationships and friendships, but it's a really lovely film.
How did is it a feature length?
No, it's a short film, so
Okay.
I think it's like 6 or 7 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How did you find out about that? Just because of the animation
so
world?
They have a great the Wisconsin Film Festival has a really great guide, and I just kind of selected the filter for animated films and animated short films, and
Nice.
that was at the top of the list, and it was just it looked really, really lovely to like really good eye candy, so that drew me in right away.
That's great. Now, did you go to that alone, or did you bring your daughter? You have a daughter?
I didn't bring my daughter
Okay.
this time because you just sometimes with animated short films, there's not always kind of this is kid friendly or this isn't kid friendly, and animated shorts specifically can get very personal and very symbolic and creative and abstract, which I always love, but I just never know how my daughter's going to respond to something like that,
Right.
especially if there's any kind of adult theme in there. And she's 3, and we're just starting to introduce her to the theater. So
Okay.
she did not come with me this time, but I would love to take her next year.
And then what was the other one you saw?
The other one that I really liked was called Battery Daddy, which is it's
Also animated?
also animated.
Okay.
It's a stop motion film, and I'm
Oh.
a huge sucker for stop motion because of my job like learning all of the stuff that goes into that process.
It's incredible.
Is fascinating.
It sounds so tedious.
Yes,
I have
it
so
is.
much respect for people that do that because I could never do that. I don't think.
I actually did an article on it's called Pigbird Studios, and they did an animation for a song by Imogen called The Happy Song. And they basically do their stop motion. It's extremely tedious. Like one thing can take years of their life, and a lot of it they do for free. And so it's it's a passionate thing.
You're not getting a signing bonus for
No,
making a short
you're not.
stop animation film.
Yes.
It is a total passion project.
It is a passion
in
project.
every instance. It's
For sure.
so great.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny too? How so your daughter's 3.
Yes.
I remember when my son was born, he was like 1 year old, and we had the TV was just on, and I think it was Walker Texas Ranger. We didn't make a conscious effort to put it on; it was just on in the background. So I'm watching it. I'm holding my son, and there was an episode where a baby got abducted from a shopping cart, and I started bawling.
Oh yeah, you take
from
it
Walker
super
Texas
personally.
Ranger. Yeah, and I'm like. Everything makes you more emotional because you have this thing in your life that you're not.
It's true.
The depths of your emotion you never thought you would experience.
And you're
something
like, that's
that.
great. We're not leaving the house this week. I have to recover.
Unless Chuck
exactly.
Norris is with us and wearing his cowboy boots,
Exactly.
we're not going out. Exactly.
Yes.
Okay, so you did a great piece recently about a scary film, Zoopocalypse.
The Night of the Zoopocalypse. Yeah. Great film.
All right, and it was a great article, very well written. Loved
Thank
it.
you.
But what is this a thing now? Making scary movies for kids, and
It's
how do they know
becoming a
when
thing.
to, walk that line?
Yeah, because I interviewed like DreamWorks did it recently. They've had a couple like animated series for kids that are like kind of dive into like voodoo stuff and ghost stuff, and they've got Gremlins, and then they've got Curses. Like these are kind of more scary horror based stuff, but it's for kids. And I was really, really curious. And I've seen all of the projects, and obviously Zoopocalypse I watched. And it's one of those things where like my 3-year-old probably couldn't handle it, but also there are some 3-year-olds that I'm sure could. It's an interesting because they make these in the Zoopocalypse specifically. They make these zombie monsters like. They're almost like gummy candies. That's like the texture of them. So when they're losing limbs and things, it's just funny. It's like watching a gummy bear lose its head.
They said, here's what it said: an alien virus that turns a bunch of zoo animals into zombies made of goo. And then actor comedian Scott Thompson, who's in it, says the movie looks like a bruise came to life.
Yes,
that sounds horrible.
I know. I love that line though. It was such a great line that he said. But it sounds so gross, but it's really fun to watch. And the characters are the design for them was inspired by the Muppets. So I think there's just kind of this like inherent the rule that the director said is that for every scare there had to be a laugh to kind of even it out for kids, so that when they're watching it and maybe getting scared scared out of their pants.
Tone it down a little bit.
Exactly.
Then,
that they can mull it over with a bit of humor.
Do you have so your daughter's 3. Victoria
Mhm.
Davis, by the way, is my guest. She is an award-winning writer and a journalist, and works for the Capital Times. And tell me the name of the animation. I get another plug
Night of the
into
Zoopocalypse.
No, your other gig where you write
my job.
the one that makes you money. Yeah.
Yes. Animation World Network
All
is
right,
is the one in California, and then I work here locally for the Cap Times.
Okay. I keep forgetting. I always want to reverse the order in that. So I always forget the name. But do you have like things as a parent? Because I remember thinking, all right, with our son, who is our oldest, he can't have gum until he's 5.
Yes.
No soda.
Yeah.
We didn't let him play video games till he was 10.
That's impressive.
Well,
that's impressive.
I think we made it till he was 9. I think we bought a Wii, and we justified it by saying, well, you exercise, so we bought that.
Yeah.
But we tried to stick with it. And do you have those rules set up? Have you thought that far ahead?
We tried. I mean, it was hard with my job because my daughter was home with me, and I would watch screeners before interviews, and she's this like 7-month-old baby, and I'm holding her, and she's just kind of watching, and I'm doing the best I can. And so I think it was our goal, of course, was like, let's wait as long as we possibly can before she's watching shows, and we tried, and it just came early for us that she ended up watching.
You don't ever get to that point where it's like, all right, I got to get something done. Put in the Baby Beethoven video.
I've definitely put in the baby. I love that you mentioned the Baby Beethoven video
those
because
are
that's
great.
that's gotten on our TV a few times when I had to like do the dishes or something. But most of the time, I'm trying to watch it with her because it's kind of become an experience at our house where we're just a big movie family, not just for my job, but we've always been that way.
What movie are you very excited to show her when she's old enough? Be
Oh my gosh,
it a kid's
there's
movie
so
or
many.
a scary movie or a comedy or whatever.
There's so many. You know what's funny? One of my friends just showed their child. So I'll tell you an animated one, and I'll tell you one that's not animated. But one of our friends just showed their child Tarzan. And they were fascinated by it, and I've been holding off because there's like the opening scene where the parents are like mauled by the cougar or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know if she's ready for that. I don't know if I'm ready for it.
What if she starts laughing though during that?
She probably will. She probably will. My daughter is one of those kids that's like she thinks that like ghosts are funny, and she's seen like kind of scary posters, and she's like, "Oh, it's so cute," and I'm like,
"Oh my
Who are you?"
She's the next Wes Craven or
yeah,
something.
she's built different, and she always wants like the ghost episode for any TV show she watches. So I think I should have more faith in her, really. But I also are my niece and nephew who are much older. They're 10 and 6. Just watched Pirates of the Caribbean for the first time.
Okay,
and that's one that like me and my husband are like super excited about to show her.
Is she old enough yet? I don't know.
I'm like 3's too early, right? That's too early.
What are your favorite kids movies in general? What do you?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, a lot of like the Hayao Miyazaki movies are just really good comfort, like
animation.
Yeah, because they're more slow and lower stimulation, and you can kind of have them on and you listen to this really beautiful classical music, and I really love that. I mean, I don't know. I also again love stop motion, so like. Again, maybe this is why my daughter is the way she is, because like, we love Coraline and we love Nightmare Before Christmas. And
hey, that's whatever. If you do
suddenly
it as a
it's
family,
all making sense. Yeah.
You wrote about children's theater recently.
Yes.
As a young mom, what do you? Is Madison a good children's theater town?
Yeah.
Where do we go for that here?
I mean, the Overture Center for the Arts has like the Kids in the Round, and the Children's Theater in Madison is there, and they put on an amazing production of Cinderella that I got to review, and that was just lovely. And all the kids were dressed up, and they had tiaras for the kids and wands for the kids, and I think Madison actually really caters very well to it. And there's a lot of like more independent theater productions that go on at different libraries in the city as well.
Yeah. What about Neil Diamond? You saw that and reviewed that.
I did not anticipate, like, I mean, I obviously grew up listening to his songs, but I didn't, there's been so many, I think, like musical productions. Like we just did one for like Tina Turner and things like that. And so there's been quite like ABBA has the Mamma Mia musical. And so like, for me, I was kind of going into it being like, all right, well, let's see what makes this one different. And the stage production alone was like, I couldn't take my eyes off it the entire time. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, that came across in your article. You thought it was, is it just a kind of a bio show about him?
It's about his life and it's basically they go through all the lyrics of his songs and they talk about the stories behind them and kind of the motivation behind them, which is really beautiful. But they have kind of main stage props that they use to transform into different times of his life.
Okay.
And they did it masterfully.
That is exciting. We had Tim Sowers from the Overture Center on here.
Oh, really?
He kind of comes on semi-regularly, and that was one that stood out. So
yeah, that was awesome.
When we come back, we're going to do a very short break, and we will read some more of your texts. What is your favorite beer, folks? You still got a few minutes to get that in. Victoria Davis is here from the Capital Times, and we will ask her. I want to ask you what you're watching.
Okay.
On TV, if you're binging anything, if you get like an opportunity to watch something that's not for kids or 3-year-olds, we could talk about that. And then if we have time, I would love to find out where to get the best bowl of soup in Madison. And you could probably
I got
tell
you
me.
covered.
All right,
I got
fantastic.
you covered.
We'll be right back to close things down. And this is Pete Schwaba and Nite Light. Great to have you with me on this Monday on the Civic Media Radio Network.
The talk of Green Bay, WGBW.
Appleton Cigar Company on College Avenue has been serving the community for over 25 years. If you are a cigar aficionado looking for a one-of-a-kind experience, you need to check out Appleton Cigar, which boasts the largest selection of cigars north of Milwaukee with over 706 cigars to choose from in a walk-in humidor. The Cigar Lounge offers an impressive variety of spirits and cocktails that pair perfectly with a premium cigar. For the full experience, come to Appleton Cigar at 415 College Ave, Monday through Saturday, 11:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. For more information, go to appletoncigar.com.
Ready? While the teams get ready to choose their top draft pick, you can help Mino and the Mayor choose their top craft pick.
Northeast Wisconsin is home to amazing breweries, wineries, cideries, and distilleries, and we need your help picking the best.
We've drafted 10 of our favorites, but which local craft beverage creator will go to number 1? That's up to you. Top craft pick creators include Fifth Ward Brewing Company in Oshkosh, New Denmark Brewing, Duck Creek Distillery and Winery in Denmark, and Captain's Walk Winery in Green Bay. Vote for your favorite now by logging on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick. When you vote, you'll enter a random drawing to win $250 in gift cards from participating craft creators. Don't wait. Voting ends Friday, April 18th. Log on WGBW.FM and click on Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick and vote right now. Mino and the Mayor's Top Craft Pick, drafting Northeast Wisconsin's finest one sip at a time.
Hey, it's Amanda with another new Wisco 411, and the diverse and resilient Appleton Room to Be Safe is hosting a monthly drop-in night for LGBTQ plus adults, which will have social connection, fun, and resource sharing, and best of all, support. These meetings are available once a month from now through April. They are completely free and unstructured, so you can come when you want and leave when you want. If you're interested, go to WGBW.FM and click events to learn more.
From Hobart to Bayside.
I know when I don't know how to pronounce it.
There you go.
There it is.
That's the one.
A Katy Perry song.
All right.
Still on my Spotify.
Welcome
Not
back
ashamed.
to Night Light with Pete Schwaba. We have a few more minutes left here with our in-studio guest, Victoria Davis. She's an award-winning writer and writes for the Capital Times and Animation World
Network.
I can't read my own
Almost
writing.
got
That's
it.
my problem.
No, it's okay. I have doctor's handwriting too. I understand.
Conrad, I just sent you a message, so I'm just letting you know that.
Okay.
Okay. PJ on the stream says, Conrad's mom has good taste in beer. Fox Valley Brew Blue Bobber is blueberry delicious. All right. I believe you guys. I'll have to try it. I do like blueberries.
You know what? It's really good about it is if you get it actually on tap at their brewery, they put fresh blueberries in it.
There's a place in Marinette that does that too, and it's called a blueberry something beer, but it's there's something about that's you can barely taste the blueberries because of the beer, but it's like makes it look really refreshing.
I'm surprised because blueberry is a pretty prominent flavor. I feel like you put blueberry in something and you're going to taste that first.
I agree. That's the voice of Victoria Davis. So Victoria, where would you go if you were Pete Schwaba? You're wearing my shoes right now, and you're just jonesing for a bowl of soup in Madison. Where do you go?
I'll never stop singing Lalonde's praises ever.
Oh,
they
Writing
have a
it
really
down.
good like classic French onion soup if you're
Okay.
into that. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna butcher the name. Les Delices de Awa is also really good. That is a West African place in Madison that does really, really good soup. And they like if you're really into kind of like meatier soups where you've got like the bone in there and it's all kind of really, really savory.
So
That's
I'm
another good
referencing
one.
your article you recently did about soups.
Yes.
For the Capital Times. And where can people, if they want to get to know you better and see what kind of writing you do and what do you do? Do they just Google Victoria Davis Capital Times? Will all your articles come up? Because tell people how to find your stuff.
So Capital Times, the search engine's a little bit different than some websites. And so what I do, I think the best way to kind of find my writing is if you go on my Instagram or my Facebook. My website is linked in there, and
Okay.
I have a Cap Times tab, and then there's like a pop-up where it's like, see the latest articles.
Oh, nice.
That's probably the
Okay.
best place to go. But you can also like because you can't like click on my name on the Cap Times. That's not like hyperlinked to the other articles.
Oh, really?
Some websites do it like that. But yeah, the Cap Times has more of a sophisticated like search engine process.
Wow.
So yeah, the best way to go and see it is on my website.
Okay. What about, here's my most forgotten soup that I love. Lentil soup. But I never think about it.
Lentil soup is good. Yeah,
I love lentil soup. It's so healthy too.
Royal Indian's got a good lentil soup.
Royal Indian.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do this. I want to ask you a food genre, and I want you to just think of a restaurant and share it. Okay.
Okay.
Indian food.
I mean, Royal Indian.
I guess we just covered that. All right. You got
You set me up for that one.
I did.
Yeah.
I walked right into it. Italian.
Oh man. No-nos.
Where's that? Is that?
That's off not off Whitney Way in Raymond. That's where my husband and I actually used to live, and we would drive to No-No's all the time because it was right next to there. But that's No-No's it's on, I'm trying to think. It's the west side of Madison, kind of on a little strip mall, right next to actually the Vitence golf course.
Okay. All right. Mediterranean.
Oh, that one's harder.
There's tons of,
because Mediterranean, there's so many like crossovers
Yeah,
with
that's
like
true.
you've got like a lot of like taco shops that are also Mediterranean.
Right.
Yeah, like Baja Tacos is really, really good.
I've heard of that place.
Yeah.
Where is that?
That's right next to the movie theater. What's our big movie theater out here?
Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus Point.
Okay.
Yep. Marcus Point Cinema. It's like right across the street from that.
I wish it was right next to the Italian place because then I could just hit them both.
I know. Yeah, No-No's and then Baja. You'd be rolling yourself home.
Sleep on my stomach for the rest of my life.
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Mexican food.
I mean, I go back to Baja Taco, but what's the one on here? The one here on Capitol, like next to the Capitol, is a really good one, and the name is escaping me.
La Cocina.
Yes.
That's what it's called?
I think so.
I literally just made that up
think-
because that's like the most common name for.
Let me look it up.
All right.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I don't mean to make you do homework. I'm sorry. We do this on a nightly basis.
No, it's a really. Everybody is like, who's listening to this right now is like, come on, Victoria, you write about food for a
No,
living. You
no,
can't
don't worry.
think of the taco place that's literally right next to you.
I
Bel
don't-
Air. It's the Bel Air
Bel
Cantina.
I've seen that. Okay. All right. Very good. So, we got about a minute left. Anything you could recommend that you're watching on TV?
The Residence is great. Because my husband and I were watching Only Murders in the Building on Hulu for a while, and then I think that's wrapped up or is kind of in limbo
For
with the
this
next
season,
season.
yeah, right.
And if people are looking for another kind of funny, sort of out of pocket murder mystery, The Residence is great.
All
Yeah,
right, that's awesome. I cannot thank you enough for coming in tonight. This is so
Thank
much
you,
fun.
Pete. So
Thank you
much
for being
fun.
on the show. Victoria Davis, ladies and gentlemen. Check out her work. Google Victoria Davis, Capital Times. But you're going to have to type extra because there's no hyperlink with her.
just
And
go on
that
the
is-
website.
I find that wrong. All right. Thanks so much. Have a great
Thank
night.
you.
Thank you also to Johnny Beaner for coming down into the studio. Thank you for all your texts and calls. Tomorrow night on the show, mob expert Bob Dennis and Madison-based comedian Mike Mercury. I'll be back on the home court, back up at WGBW. Thanks, everybody. Conrad, what do you say? Should we get out of here?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Let me do this like I do it every night on behalf of the lovable producer, Conrad. Good night, Wisconsin.
I'll sing it to you.